Hey everybody, welcome to Legends of 40K, talking about Ezekiel, Grandmaster Librarians for the Dark Angels chapter. And I figured I'd talk about him because he's the last special character to talk about in the Dark Angels Codex, and then we can be done with one codex. Truth be told, in the Dark Angels Codex, Librarians are pretty meh, if you want to go that way. And if you know, you should know what I'm talking about. But they're not that good in my opinion. Mostly because they don't have good psychic ability potential. Because there's only 3 powers in the entire freaking codex. One of which is only able to be used by Ezekiel. So generic librarians have 2 to choose from. They can do 1 a turn. So they have an option. You know, one or the other. One's a shooting attack as a template weapon, so it's pretty close in range. It's not bad, it's a pretty good shooting attack, but still. And the other is basically like a modified invuln save. They make a psychic test. If they pass it, they ignore a wound that was done to them. But you only can do it once a turn because it's a psychic power. So, a little bit nicer, but still. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't really make up for the fact that they only can do 1 a turn, especially considering it only works for 1 wound. Now, if it worked to pretty much all the wounds that, let's say, he has on him, that'd be kind of cool too. But it'd be a little bit better, but it doesn't. Anyway, Ezekiel, probably the only librarian worth taking in the codex, in my opinion. He's 170 points, which is 50 points more expensive than a generic librarian without any upgrades. Weapon skill was a skill of 5, strength and toughness of 4, 3 wounds, initiative 5, 3 attacks, leadership 10, 2 plus save. He's infantry. He has a war gear of frag and crack grenades, secret shield, deliverer, trader's bane, book of salvation, psychic hood. He's fearless, independent character, psyker. He has the psychic powers force barrier, hellfire, and mind worm. And mind worm is his own special psychic power. Now, Secret Shield is a Artificer armor, so he gets 2 plus armor from that. Deliverer is a Master Crafted Bolt Pistol, Trader's Bane, Master Crafted Force Weapon. He has the Book of Salvation, which makes all friendly units within 12 inches of him fearless. And the Psychic Hood works just like a Psychic Hood, only the Dark Angel Psychic Hood still has unlimited range. Mind Worm, I'll touch on it briefly here. Basically, it's a shooting attack that counts as a heavy weapon. You have to pass the psychic test to use it. If you do, you pick a model within, I believe, 18 inches of Ezekiel, since he's the only one that can do it. And that model has to make a leadership check. If they fail, they're removed from play. They're not killed, they're just removed from play. So, Eternal Warrior doesn't help here. Which is nice, because usually Eternal Warrior kind of is like a loophole here, but because it doesn't instant kill you or anything, it just removes them from play. At least I feel how it would work is Eternal Warrior has no effect. However, this ability only affects models with a leadership score. So if they don't have a leadership score, they're not affected. Alrighty, so what do I think about Ezekiel's model? Remember, I talked about what I think about their model, if they have one, and then what I think about their entry. His model, I like. It's suitably ornate. It looks very cool, and when you paint it up as a proper librarian paint scheme, it contrasts great with Dark Angel's army. So, no complaints about its look. It's just an old model, it's an old pose. I feel if a new pose would be done, I wouldn't complain as long as they do justice. But I'm not saying it's necessary. I think it's a great pose. I like it. Some people may not, but I do. However, unit entry. Honestly, Ezekiel's entry is fine. He just needs the ability to do multiple powers in a turn. He only can do 1 psychic test a turn. The trend seems to be now with special character librarians, the trend seems to be multiple psychic tests a turn is able to happen. And with the generic Space Marine Codex, for example, you can upgrade it. A generic librarian can do 2. So why can't Ezekiel do more than 1? So that'd be nice to see. Other than that, I think he's fine. He doesn't have an invuln save, but librarians outside of Terminator armor tend not to have it unless you take a generic one and upgrade to have some sort of war gear, like Terminator armor, for example. So I can't complain about his lack of invuln save because it just seems to be a Librarian thing. My real complaint is the Librarian entry in general for the Dark Angels Codex. It's just lacking in utility. Now, I'm a big fan of kill you powers. I think they're great because I like to kill the opponent. But Librarian having the option to have utility, I think, is key. And there really isn't any options here to take. You're given the choice of this power or this power to use, and that's it. And that's not really utility. It's not really a choice. It's not really. I wouldn't really call it a choice when you force it. So I think more psychic powers is necessary. I'd like to see at least 5. I think 5, 6 would be great. I don't know how many the other codices have, but just give them around that number. And suited towards the Dark Angels theme, which I think isn't that hard. And that would increase utility. So that's what I think. Because when you do that, Ezekiel benefits from that. So that would be nice. Alright, now how would I use Ezekiel? Well, truth be told, I'm not very good at using Librarians. I have very limited experience with them for any codex. So I'm not really an expert on using them. However, I do know how to use Dark Angels, and Ezekiel fits right in there. He is suitably aggressive enough. He has a similar stat line to a Company Master, and as such, he could be used to a similar effect. Now, he doesn't have an invuln save, so to be a little bit more careful, but he does have a 2+ armor save. He does have a force weapon, which counts as a power weapon, so he can get the job done. His little aura of Fearless is also nice. It makes you have a core army that can get very dug in. Really only useful for things that are not 1st and 2nd company. Deathwing and Ravenwing are Fearless already. So I would stick Ezekiel with your powered armored battle company / reserve company people and scout company. Just because they'll benefit from the Book of Salvation. He's an independent character. So while he doesn't have the stat line of a Fiston, for example, he is an independent character. He needs to get stuck in with a squad. And he isn't a slouch. He has a good stat line in and of itself. So that's good. As far as what unit to stick him with, your company, your battle company veterans are actually pretty good. Your company veteran squad, the company veteran squad can support him however you see fit. If you want to make him a Shui support, that's fine. They can do that. If you want to make them a bit more of assaulting support or a bit of a mixture, you can do that too. I'm not going to tell you how to equip your company veterans. That's up to you. But you know, he's got a pretty good ability for that. Tactical squad is also nice if you combat squad it or not. It's good to stick them with that too, because you're gonna have them. You're gonna make them fearless. That's helpful, especially if they're gonna hold an objective. You can kind of keep them there to be defensive with that. Another thing, if you're gonna have like a mobile strike force, a really good option, I think, if you use the squads, are assault marine squads. Take a 5-man assault marine squad, because you can't go with them if they're bigger. And instead of having jump packs, take a rhino. You just spend for no extra point cost, and spend the points for extra armor. And there you go. He's with a 5-man assault squad. Which, you know, you can even upgrade the sergeant to have a power fist or whatever. And then you got Ezekiel there. That's not a pushover squad. That's pretty good. So you can do something like that. But you have that in a mobile force, maybe with some tactical squads and rhinos going up, mechanized, kind of like that. You can have a nice core use of Fearless for holding objectives or taking the fight to the enemy to then hold objectives. It can be very handy. I do know that Ezekiel is used. I don't really know the extent to which people use him. There are a couple of ways to use him. But I do know that he is used. It's not like he's one of those special characters where, yeah, he's a better option than taking the generic, but nobody does take him at all. He is taken. So that's really all I have to say about Ezekiel as far as how I would use him. I would utilize them the same way I play my Dark Angels Company Master or my other Dark Angel HQ, and how I play my Dark Angels Army, which would be mobile, to have a nice core of mobile units to go up there, take the fight to the enemy, not necessarily just charge them, but like close in shooting, in which case his Hellfire ability would be very nice. But having him there will bolster that type of force by making everybody fearless. And I know some people don't like fearless, but fearless I believe is great, especially in the shooting phase. And if you can utilize Ezekiel's Book of Salvation to its fullest in the shooting phases, I think you're set. Considering Dark Angels play more of a shooting force anyway, just because they have pretty much zero rules that help in the assault phase aside from being Space Marines. So being shooty, I believe, is a really good way to go. Just shooting the hell out of your opponent until they just have to mop it up with assaulting, and keeping your forces there. Doing that is key, and Fearless pretty much does that, and having a little aura of Fearless will help. And yes, I know this brings your army closer together, meaning you won't be able to reach out and touch as much of the board, and blast weapons have a greater chance of hitting part of you, but it is a risk, but you know, no risk, no reward. But anyway, that's how I would use them. It's probably a terrible way to use them, but that's how I would do it. And like I said, I am not one to use Librarians really. The way I play, while they may seem to be able to be a great asset and be a great value to me, and in certain situations they are, like with my pre-air 2000 Suns Force they were, and will continue to be with the Chaos Sorcerers, because they go with the Chaos Army Codex, but that's a tangent. Point is, there are a few cases in which they're beneficial for my style of play, but for the most part, and this really depends on the codex I'm using, and the army I'm building with that codex to fit my playstyle. For the most part, they don't really fit in too well for what I'm trying to accomplish. So that's why I don't use them personally. But Librarians can be very effective, can really help bolster your force. And if you're playing Dark Angels and you want a Librarian, you might as well go Ezekiel in my opinion, unless you really want a Librarian Terminator armor with a jump pack or with a bike. That would be the only reasons I could see for not taking Ezekiel. And hey, if you're doing a Raven Wings force or a Deathwing themed force, go for it. Put him on a bike or put him in Terminator armor. It fits the theme of your force, and that's great. So that's it for Ezekiel. A cool model. You can probably just take the model and convert it to your own uses if you don't want to use him as Ezekiel itself, but that's not the point of this video. He's a cool model, he's got a very solid stat line, and he is the best Librarians the Dark Angels can offer to you at the moment with this current incarnation of the Codex. So give him a shot if you like that type of unit. And until next time, take it easy.